to my channel. Guys, it's always my pleasure to have you back on this channel. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so. And if you're very new here, I love you. Thanks for stopping by. Guys, I'm going to be talking about Christians or believers taking medication. You know, like when a Christian is sick, a Christian that have faith is sick. You know, can that person also take medication when the person is sick? It's actually a question, you know. So that's what we're going to look at today. Because we all believe that as a Christian, we have faith. You know, we're supposed to do everything with faith. Even when we are sick, we're not supposed to take medication because we have faith. So we're going to look at that. If it's wrong or if it's a sin for a believer to take medication when he or she is sick. It's okay, to me it's okay if you have the faith. If you have the faith and you know your faith can carry you when you're sick, it's okay. But I believe that if you don't have enough faith to carry you when you're sick, you should just run to the hospital and have medication. I've seen so many cases when people are sick and they just believe they're believers, and for that reason they should not take any medication. But before I go on to this deeply, I want you to understand that we are worshiping Living Faith Church. In every local assembly in Living Faith churches, we have what we call medical units. And we have like a chemist, so to say, in the church premises. So that if anybody is sick, as a member of the church, you go in there. If you don't have money to go to the hospital, if it's a minor thing that the people in the church, the nurses and the doctors in the church can help, you just go there and you get treated. So if a church like that can have a chemist or a medical center or a medical unit in the church premises, I don't think it is wrong for a believer to take medication. If it was wrong, a church like Living Faith would not have medical section or medical units in the church. So if you're sick as a believer, if you have the faith, that's what I'm saying, and you know that, you strongly believe that with your faith you'll be healed, it's okay. If you know that your faith is not strong enough to carry you, please seek medical attention. In my home cell, my church home cell, there was a man there, and at a point this man fell sick. He had faith actually, and his faith made him whole. He was healed, you know, through his faith. But he needed to treat himself on the outside, because after being healed, he could not just walk from here to there. He would lose strength. And this guy would have just killed himself out of ignorance. So when visiting him, you know, as home cell members, so when we got there, the wife narrated the story to us that the man is strong. Even seeing the man there, his voice was very strong. But he did not have strength, physical strength. You know, he couldn't walk like from here to that place without panting. He would just be panting because he had no strength in him. So any little exercise, he would be panting. So when we got there, you know, we all advised him to seek medical attention. We advised him to at least go for multivitamins, which I wrote it down by myself for him. You know, I gave him some names of multivitamins that he could take to give him strength, the physical strength he needed. You know, because if you see this man at that time, The voice was very strong, but the outside, if you look at him, it was just gone. Honestly, the guy was gone on the outside, but he had a strong voice even at that moment because he was healed. Spiritually, he was healed. But he needed to do some things. He needed to just take care of the physical body. You know, he needed to regain back his strength. And you can't regain strength if you don't eat good food. You cannot get your strength if you don't eat food. And, you know, at that time, that man needed a balanced diet. And he's not a rich man, so to say. So he could not afford buying like fresh fruits and this and that, you know, those things that could give him that complete balanced diet, those kind of food that can give him that balanced diet. He didn't have the money to, you know, to do that at all time. So I suggested to him that he should go and buy multivitamin supplements that will help him replace, you know, those things that his body needs, the balanced diet that his body needs, since he could not buy them, you know, the way it is. And this man did that. And I want to tell you that after like a month, if you see that man, you'll not even recognize him again. He added so much weight. When I even saw him after that period at church, I could only recognize the face, but I wasn't 100% sure he was the same person. Because now he had added so much weight, he was looking fresh, he was looking strong. You know, he was just jumping from this side of the church to the other side of the church, you know. Like, he just got himself back within a month. So if that guy had not gone to take that medication, I don't know what would have happened to him. So if you're sick, it's not wrong for you to have medication. God can also pass through that medicine, that medication, to heal you. Why do you eat food? Why do you eat food? It's for you to have strength. You eat food to have strength. If you don't eat food, and you say you have faith, you will not have strength. You will not look healthy. Because with that food, you have complete balanced diet. And your body will look beautiful. Your body will look healthy on the outside. So there's nothing wrong for a believer or a Christian to take medication. I lost my beautiful sister out of ignorance. She was about to give birth to a baby and she was bleeding. They pleaded with her to go to the hospital. And she said no, that she has faith, that they should take her to the church house. They took her to the church. Even people in the church were advising her to go to the hospital because she was bleeding so heavily. She refused. At a point, she lost all her strength. And they had to rush her to the hospital. By the time they got to the hospital, it was already too late. She died, and the baby died. Out of ignorance. She said, no, I have faith. I don't want to go to the hospital. I want to give birth in the church house. There's some things you need the help of doctors in the hospital. It is God that is giving them that wisdom. It is God that has given them the strength to do what they have to do medically. So there's nothing wrong for a believer, there's nothing wrong for a Christian, to be on medication or to take medication. How much faith do you have that can really carry you? So if you know that you don't have much faith, And if you know that your faith is wavering, seek medical attention. Do not deceive yourself. Don't deceive yourself and kill yourself. God is not against you having medication. He's not against you taking medication. So let's not be foolish here, and at the end of the day we'll live to regret. When there is need for you to take medication, please take medication. Unless you know that your faith is so strong and it can carry you, your faith can see you through. Get me right. I didn't say that faith cannot heal you. Faith can heal you. But if you know that you don't have enough faith to be healed, seek medical advice. Get medical attention. God is not against you taking medication at all. He will pass through those medication and he will still heal you. For you to even take medication, you also have faith. So faith without works, I'm sure you know, is dead. Have faith in God, believing that if you take that paracetamol, your headache will go. Of course, I know some people that will take medication and it will not work for them because they don't even have the faith that that medication will work for them. So the two things actually work together. It works together. During the time of Jesus on earth, you see him sometimes he will spit on the ground, mix the spit with the soil, and rub it on the blind man's eyes, and he will receive his sight. He will receive his sight. Sometimes he will say, jump into the pool, and your sickness will be gone, because it passes through the water in the pool and cleans the person's body. He knows that water is one thing that we can use to wash away dirt from our skin. So it's just the same thing, like when you take paracetamol for your headache. So God will pass through that paracetamol that you've taken and he will heal your headache. So there's nothing wrong in a believer having medication. There's nothing wrong in that. So if you need to seek the advice of a doctor, seek the advice of a doctor and get treated. And still have your faith that when you take that medication, the doctor will prescribe to you, you'll be fine. So many people have lost their lives like that, saying that they have faith, and maybe their faith is not even up to 5% to carry them to be healed. Sometimes they even have the faith at that moment, and in the next second, their faith becomes wavering. And anything can happen within that very second. Anything can happen within that very second that their faith is shaking. So if you know you don't have enough faith to carry you, for you to be healed, seek medical attention. Don't just sit down there and say, I have faith, I have faith, I have faith, and things are getting spoiled in your life. So it's important for us to know when we need medical attention and go for it. It is not a sin, it will never be a sin. God has never condemned you taking medication. After all, he's the one that gave doctors the wisdom. So let's not overlook these things and then suffer what we are not supposed to suffer. Let's do the right thing at the right time. That is what I have for you guys today. Remain blessed.